We're a Global Action Plan International based here in Stockholm. It's an international network of people and organizations in particular in, I'm not sure now, 18 or 19 countries, working together and separately in different ways to empower people to live and work increasingly sustainably. So it's a process, it's a journey.
What do you think makes GAP a leader?
One reason GAP is Global Action Plan is a leader in this area is that we have worked so hard to understand the mechanisms of empowerment. So when we organize programs, people change their behavior, that's good. But what is even more important, they keep that behavior. The researchers have followed up families that started our programs and also workplaces and found that that behavior not only is retained but strengthened up to several years afterwards. Now this flies in the face of almost all sociological research that says that after the end of a program, things sort of tail off. But they don't with our programs, and that's one reason they are so effective. They're very cost effective. You run the program and then people carry on doing things and finding new ways to do things. I'm not saying nobody else does that, but the researchers tell us that they haven't found anybody else who does it as effectively as we do, and that's nice. However, we're not satisfied. We want to do better than that. And we're still working to find new ways, more effective ways, to help people who are interested to become part of the solution, rather than just feeling slightly guilty about being part of the problem. There's a very common feeling that, it's too big. I can't do anything about it. And even if I could, I wouldn't know where to start. And even if I knew that, it would probably be very painful and uncomfortable. So what we need to do, in our opinion, is to help to empower people to understand how creative they themselves can be in our own lives, in our own everyday lives, and actually save money and have more fun at the same time.
So I would like to know about the history of GAP.
Well, it all started really with the Club of Rome report, The Limits to Growth. And some crazy people started saying, well, because the report seemed to show that there was no continuation for human civilization as we know it, right? Whatever happened, it collapsed. And so some people we know borrowed the computer simulations and started putting in different parameters. And they found out that there was only one thing that would actually make the difference between no future and future, even if it was a bit bumpy. And that one thing was to change the lifestyle of the rich people in the world. And that was quite a good message, really, because up to then, all of the poor countries had been saying it's all their fault, they consume too many resources, and all of the rich people had been saying it's all their fault because they have too many babies. But now we had an answer, and it was about something we could do something about. I mean, I can't do anything about how many babies people have in Africa, but I can do something about my own lifestyle. So we said, let's experiment, let's find out if we can learn to live in a way that's more compatible with a future for humankind on the planet. And if we can, let's see if we can help other people to do it too. And that's how it started. Yeah. The basis of empowerment is about caring. When we care about something, we take in information about it. And when we don't care, we don't take in information about it. So, many people say, well, we've told people 15 times how to recycle in this community, and they still do it wrong, yeah, right, because they're not convinced that it's going to make a difference. So the other side of the coin is that I can begin to care about something when I believe I can make a difference. So we often start our programs with experimentation. Just to try something out, just to see how does it go. A lot of people say to us, oh, you should be working with children, not with adults, And they will even say to me, forget me, I'm too old, you can't teach new tricks to old dogs and so on. And I get really upset when people say that, because how can you say that? How can you say, I made this mess and the kids have to clean it up? That's just not fair. So for years, I wouldn't even work with children. I said, I don't want to work with children until we found a way to do it that is truly empowering, that makes the kids feel better for doing the program instead of worse. I don't want to put an added burden on them that You have to clear up the mess that we've made, you know. But now we've found that way, I think. Our programs the last few years have been extremely successful. We have really big schools programs in several countries, in the UK, in Poland, in the Ukraine, which is really exciting because the Ukraine is the first example in the world, I think, of an integrated curriculum for lessons for sustainable development. So it's one lesson a week for a whole school year, and it's all action-oriented, and it includes social sustainability. This is really, really exciting, and I hope we can find ways to introduce it in more places. One of the principles that we found that helped us to create an empowering program for children was that we designed programs that involve their parents and their brothers and sisters and their grandparents. So by the very design of the program, it creates a kind of movement within the family, and so they can feel good about it, and their parents can feel good about it because they're helping the kids with their homework. It's a really good system, and somebody said, well, you know, the parents are not going to like it if you send the children home with forms where they have to fill in how much energy they use and all this stuff. They're going to feel, you know, big brother. But actually, there's been very little resistance of that kind, and we've designed the program even for use in schools in such a way that, and we've been very careful about this, if a child's parents don't want to help out in that way or don't support the program, that's okay. The child doesn't suffer in consequence. So that's built into the program also. But very few parents have actually, far fewer than we expected, have shown any resistance. Most of them are very enthusiastic. Well, the dream is, of course, that in 20 years' time, GAP is completely unnecessary because everybody's doing it. That's the dream. And I don't feel at all proprietorial about GAP, and I don't believe my colleagues do particularly either. It's more about making what we've learnt during this journey as available as possible to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, so that we also can learn from their experience and we can accelerate the process. That's my dream, that we together can enter into a collective learning, more and more people joining into a collective learning movement so that we get better and better at doing this. That's my dream.